Okay, so today's lesson we're going to be talking about how to find the area of all triangles. This is going to be a combination of section 6.1 and 6.2 in your book. And it's just called the area of triangles. Now, in general, when you have a triangle, the area of any triangle is really just 1/2 the base times the height. Now, what if you're given a triangle and you know, let's say this side and this side. So that's an example of our law of sines problem where we had to check the height and how to find out how many triangles there are. You can go back to a previous section if you don't remember that. But let's take a look. If you're given those two sides and you're given this angle, or let's not even say you have this side. Let's say you have this side, like that. Okay. The area of this triangle, if you're given a side, an angle between, and another side. Just looking at this triangle, it's going to be 1/2 times the base, well the base is side C, times the height. And remember how we said to find the height, you do this side times the sine of this angle. All right. So in case you forget, let's put this as h. If we want to figure out what h is, we could do the sine of angle A is equal to the height, opposite side, over the hypotenuse. So the height would equal b times the sine of A. Okay, so for this triangle, the base is C and the height is b times the sine of A. For any kind of side angle side, one of the formulas we could use to find the area is 1/2 of b times c times the sine of A, if we just put things in alphabetical order. Well, the area could also be 1/2 if you're given angle B. Take a look at this first equation. You have the other two sides and then you have that third letter, right? So if you're given angle B, we're going to use the formula A times C times the sine of B. And the third one is, what do you think happens if we are given angle C? The other two letters were A and B. And we could show that just like I did over here by figuring out what the area is, but those are the formulas. So let me show you an example with this. What if you knew that side A was 8.4, side B was 10, and angle C was 108 degrees? Well, I mean, you could draw your triangle, and you know side A is 8.4, side B is 10, and side C is 108 degrees. According to our formula for side angle side, the area of this triangle would equal 1/2 the two sides times the sine of the angle between them. And if you type that into your calculator, you get the area is 39.9 square units. Whenever you're talking about area, we use square units. If it was volume, we would use cubic units. So there's another type of formula. We'll call this the first type. For a right triangle, it's always 1/2 base times the height. And we could derive these other formulas just like I showed you. Now, what if you're given two angles? Say you have an angle side example. Formulas are going to be a little bit different. The area would equal 1/2 times A squared times the sine of B, sine of C, all divided by the sine of A. Another formula would be 1/2 b squared times the sine of a, sine of c, all divided by the sine of b. Hopefully you see a pattern. This side and this angle are in the same places for all three formulas. And then the third formula would be 1/2 c squared times the sine of a times the sine of b, all divided by the sine of c. Now if you're given two angles, you could easily find the third by subtracting from 180. So let's take a look at an example here. Let's say angle C was 85 degrees, side A was 2, and angle B was 19 degrees. If you want, you could always draw a triangle just so you know what case you're in. Well, we are given two angles, so we could easily find that third one by doing 180 minus 85 minus the 19, and we get that third angle is 76 degrees. So formula, because the only side we know is side A, would be 1/2 a squared. We'll put the sine of A on the bottom. Sine B times the sine of C. And let's type this in, making sure we have all our numbers correct. And I'll type it in. Let's see what we come up with here. So 1/2 times 2 squared times the sine of 19 times the sine of 85, closing the parentheses, and we're dividing by the sine of 76. Comes out to 0.7 square units. And that's a small area, but that's okay because I'm small too. So it's okay to be small. Alright, so that's the second type of formula. We have one more that we didn't talk about. Third type of formula is if you have three sides. And in this case, we're going to use a famous formula called Heron's formula. And what Heron discovered was that the area of a triangle with three sides is equal to the square root of s times s minus a times s minus b times s minus c, where s is equal to 1/2 of the sum of all three sides. Make this a little bit prettier. So that's our area. So what we have to do first is find s, and then plug it into that formula. I'll show you an example. What if we knew that side A was 5, side B was 12, and side C was 13? S would equal 1/2, 5 plus 12 plus 13, which is 15. And then to find our area, we're going to have to be careful with our calculator. It's going to be the square root of 15 times 15 minus 5 times 15 minus 12 times 15 minus 13. And our area would come out to 30 square units. All right, so it's not a big deal to find the area of any kind of triangle. And actually, if you want to use law of sines, or you want to use law of cosines, using the tools that I gave you, you could find the area of any triangle using any of these formulas. You could use the basic right triangle formula for the area of a triangle. If it's a right triangle, if you find all the sides, you could use the side angle side formula, you could use angle angle side, or you could use the third one, Heron's formula. It doesn't matter. So if you find all the angles, all the sides, you could use any of those formulas. But if you just want to use what you're given and find an area right away, you could pick the appropriate formula. For homework, I'm going to ask you to complete the attached worksheet. Alright, so give that a shot, and we will pick up where we left off tomorrow. Good luck. Have a nice day.